Hey guys, so I'm back with video number 2. So I'm doing good so far. So this video is just going to be me talking about my favorite books of 2013 since it just passed, and I did read a lot of books last year. I tried to read averaging around like at least 5 every month. And I almost did that every month, but anyways, yeah. Besides that, that's besides the point. I decided that I'm going to just share with you the books that I found last year that were, in my opinion, pretty great. Okay, so number one on my 2013 favorite books has to be Annette Vallon. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but let me tell you, I love this book so much that of all the books I've ever read, this joined my list as probably number 2. Okay? Like number 2 of my all-time favorite books. This is a historical fiction book. It takes place during the French Revolution, and it's based on some real people. It's based on this woman, Annette Vallon, who was a lover to this, I think he's a British poet, yeah. So this British poet called Williams Wordsworth. I always get so like tongue-tied over his name. Yeah, and historians don't know the full extent of their relationship. They were only able to piece together, as you know, a little bit based on some correspondence that they found after he passed away. But so most of the stuff is fiction that's in the book, but it does take place in during an actual time, with actual events that did happen during history, and the people are real. But let me tell you, okay, so this is by James Tipton. Last year was the year that I actually found historical fiction. Like, I don't think I ever really read any book that had, like, was historical fiction, but this book changed my mind, and I love it so much. It's like if I took Pride and Prejudice, which is my all-time favorite book, and wrapped it up with some history, and, I don't even know, like, this joined my list. So it's basically about a woman who is French, and she meets this British guy, the poet William, and they kind of end up having a thing. They get married, they have a daughter, but because of the French Revolution, they get separated. He has to go back home, and while she's in France with her daughter, single mother, taking care of her daughter, obviously she's a single mother, yeah, there's war all around her, and she has to deal with the situation that's in front of her, while at the same time wanting this man who's across the sea. I don't know, I just found the character to be such a strong, independent female, which I love that. I love that she's a strong, independent female. She didn't need to rely on him, and she had a mind of her own before she met him. So I love that. I loved her character. I fell in love with it. If you're into historical fictions, if you're into Pride and Prejudice, I would say give this a try because it's my favorite. Okay, so the second book that I'm going to pick for my favorite of 2013 is this one. My Name is Memory, and it's by Brashares. I can't say her last name, but basically she's the writer of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series, which I loved as a teenager. I loved those books. I bought all of them, and I still have them. Yeah, so this book is fiction, and I bought it because it was on sale, and I didn't really know what to think of it. I love this book so much. If I could sum this up into maybe a song, I guess. When I listen to Kesha's song, what's the song? I can't remember right now off the top of my head because I'm out of breath. But I'll link it below, and it kind of reminds you of this. It's this guy, his name is Daniel, and he has what they call the memory, which is being able to recall all of his past lives as he's reincarnated over and over again. And he ends up meeting this girl who in modern time is called Lucy, who he remembers from several past lives. And she doesn't have the memory. She doesn't remember. He wants to help her remember. And they went through a lot of different things during their lives together, and they were apart. And it's kind of like it is a romance. It is like a romance kind of novel type of thing. But anyways, it's a teen book. It's a teen fiction book, but it's so good, and it's romantic, and I love how she just took the idea of reincarnation and made it her own, and yeah, check this out. Okay, so another book that I really liked, but it includes other books as well. Last year I got really heavily into dystopian novels, so I fell in love with so many different books. The Hunger Games, which actually I think I read 2012, but yeah, The Hunger Games, Divergent. I love Divergent. That's on my list of loves. I read Delirium. And I also found Matched. It's a YA dystopian novel, which I really, really liked. And as a whole, I think I just really like the dystopian novel genre. And this one specifically is about a girl named Kesha. I don't know how you would say her name, but yeah. And she's part of a society where they match you when you're 16, I think it is. And she ends up getting matched to 2 different people, which opens up her mind to the possibility of picking a life for herself that's not one the society picks for her. And then it kind of just sends her on her way to, you know, explore the world at large and all that stuff. But yeah, so it's not just this book, it's dystopian novels in general that I would say that I fell in love with last year. Okay, so another book that I found last year and I actually really liked is this one, A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Deborah? I don't know. It's a fiction book. I think it might classify under fantasy as well. Yeah, okay, we're gonna put like fantasy fiction type of book. And it's more like if you're interested in like fantasy, you know, like witches and wizards and demons and all that type of stuff, but you kind of want like an adult, more adult version than a lot of the books that they have out, that it's like kiddie books or teenage books, which I like. I still enjoy them and I'll read them. But if you want more of like a grown-up version of that, I would say to pick up A Discovery of Witches. They have part 2. They have 2 books so far. It's a trilogy, I think it is. Yeah. And the first one is The Discovery of Witches, and the second one is called Shadows of Night. So the main character in this book is called Diana Bishop. She's a scholar, and she's a descendant of witches. She works with alchemical manuscripts, I think it is, and she works in a library, and she kind of likes to put the witch side of her to the side. She doesn't like to acknowledge it or use magic or anything like that. And then she ends up finding this book, which in turn ends up having her meet different kinds of people, especially this particular person called Matthew Claremont. He's a vampire, and this whole big, you know, journey and the whole story picks up then when they meet and stuff like that. So it's really cool. It's really interesting. I liked it because I do read a lot of YA books, and I love YA books. I have nothing against them. But last year I just tried to get more like fiction books, stuff that's just outside of the YA range. So this was really good. So that's it. That's the end of this video. Links and all that stuff will be below as usual. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye!